Hi, I'm Andrea. People say I'm the kind of girl every parent wishes they had. Selfless, responsible, mature. After Mom passed away, I practically became a mini her myself. Every day, I cooked, cleaned the house, ironed Dad's shirt while trying to keep up with my schoolwork. Andrea! It's bedtime! Read a story for Mr. Snuggles and I! Aren't you too old for a read me a book mode? And seriously, no please? Please! Pretty please! Okay, fine. Come here, gremlin. Oh, that's Daisy, my ridiculously adorable little sister. And like clockwork, I was her official bedtime storyteller every night. Everyone in our town called me an angel, the perfect daughter. But what they didn't know was, at school, I was a nightmare. And not in the awkward, clumsy, clueless kind of way. I was one of them. The loudest, the baddest, the girls everyone whispered about. And yet, no one dared mess with. But believe it or not, it wasn't always this way. I used to be a nobody, the one others picked on or ignored. I'd watch popular girls like Taylor and Janelle from afar, wishing I had their confidence, their style, their swag. Until one day, I slipped them a cheat sheet in a math test and got them good grades. I became part of their crew, untouchable, feared. But I quickly realized it wasn't as cool as I thought. I had to laugh at jokes that weren't funny. Pretend it didn't bother me when they tore down a girl's confidence by ridiculing her thrift store shoes, and I was always doing their homework. Pretty much everyone, even the teachers, became targets of their bullying. Like one time, after a teacher made us mop the restroom for using our phones in class, Taylor and Janelle redecorated her car. What on earth? She fainted when she saw it. Of course we denied everything. We acted so innocent she ended up apologizing for accusing us in the first place. That was the power of the terrible trio. We ruled the school like it was our personal kingdom. Until junior year. We were just lounging in class like we owned it, when our new teacher entered. We didn't think much of her until she spoke. Hello everyone, I'm Miss Kim, your new teacher. Our new teacher? You look like you should be sitting here as one of us. Is she even old enough to give detention? Miss Kim didn't flinch. It was as if they weren't speaking to her, but she had heard everything. Oh, the terrible trio. I've heard so much about you. Loud, disruptive, and severely lacking in substance. Hold up, did she just call us brainless? I could handle insults, but calling me brainless? I couldn't take that. We're not brainless. I'm pretty smart, if you must know. Our eyes locked then, and I swear it felt like a showdown in a Western movie. I heard. Straight A's and all that. But real smart girls don't trail after idiots who think a desk is a footrest and a classroom is their living room. Without a word, Taylor and Janelle glanced at each other, then slowly lowered their legs from the table. You walk around acting tough, but do you know what I see? Insecurity dressed up as attitude. Only weak people bully others to feel strong. And if that's all you got, then you're not just brainless, you're pathetic. At the end of her speech, the whole class started clapping like she just received a Grammy Award. I felt stripped, exposed, like Miss Kim had seen through me. We stormed out the hall the second the bell rang. Janelle and Taylor looked like they were ready to punch walls. I just wanted to crawl into a bed and forget about the humiliation, but they weren't letting it go. We need a revenge plan. She thinks she's so cool, huh? We'll show her. Let's see how cool she feels when her car tires are flat. Or when her windshield is painted with brainless in red. My mouth went dry when they both turned to me, their eyes gleaming with expectation. You in, Andrea? I hesitated. Miss Kim had this serious don't mess with me energy. But backing out? That meant slipping right back into invisibility. Okay, I'm in. We waited until sunset to sneak back into the lot. Taylor carried a can of spray paint. Janelle had a pocket knife for the tires. I was on the lookout, and my palms were all sweating. Do it fast, she leaves by 6. Before we could really do anything, flashlights hit our faces like spotlights.
Hey, what on earth are you girls doing?
We froze for a second. Then we ran. But it was too late. He had seen our faces. The next day, we were called in, and the principal gave us 1 week suspension. The moment the principal walked out, Janelle and Taylor looked completely unfazed. Sounds like we just scored a vacation. I tried to act cool too, but inside, I was freaking out. I could already see my dad's disappointed face. As if reading my mind, Miss Kim turned to me.
Andrea, isn't there something you want to say?
Like what?
An apology, maybe. A promise that this won't happen again. If you mean it, I'll go to the principal myself and ask for leniency.
I almost gave in, but one look at Taylor and Janelle's glaring faces, the apology got stuck in my throat. There's nothing I have to say. See you after 1 week. Once I said it, Janelle and Taylor grinned in approval, high-fiving me like I just made them proud.
Fine then. Suspension it is. I just thought you were better than this, Andrea.
For some reason, those words stung more than any punishment ever could. And when Dad got back, it was even worse.
Really, Andrea? A suspension?
I didn't do anything! We were just standing near the car!
Standing near the car with a knife and spray paint? Are those two friends dragging you into this? I know you, and you're smarter than this.
I'm not some little kid who gets dragged into something, okay? I can handle myself! Then I stormed off, heart pounding. Why didn't anyone get it? If I cut things off with Janelle and Taylor, I knew exactly what would happen, and I wasn't ready for that. The next morning, Dad's anger at me was like water under a bridge. But then he made an announcement that would change the course of my life forever.
Girls, there's someone special I want you to meet. She's coming for dinner at 7 and might stay a few days to get to know you both. So be on your best behavior, okay?
Yay! A new mommy! I've always wanted Dad to find love again, to be happy. But this felt sudden. Still, maybe a new mom meant no more playing chef, maid, and babysitter after school. Dad, are you sure?
Positive. You will love her. You'll see.
He wouldn't tell us her name. No photos either. Said he didn't want to ruin the surprise. As evening approached, Daisy and I got caught up in the excitement anyway. We even decided to bake a welcome cake for her. What if she's, really evil? Like the evil stepmother in Snow White? Then your big sis will turn into a dragon and devour her. Roar! Around 7, I stood at the door with Daisy by my side, smiling as I held the welcome cake in my hands. But when I set my eyes on the woman that was supposed to be my future stepmother, my excitement turned to shock. Even the cake slipped off my hand and smashed into the ground. Miss Kim? Not the cake. We spent hours on that.
Hi, Andrea.
Hi, Daisy. Is she...
Yes, she's the one. And before you ask, no, I didn't meet her at your school. We have actually known each other long before she transferred to your school.
Then why didn't you say anything? She's the reason I got suspended.
No, she is not. I did ask her to show you some tough love, but I never thought you'd do something bad enough to get suspended. You and your friends brought that on yourselves.
So you teamed up with the villain behind my back? Great parenting.
Let's just talk over dinner.
Never. I'm going to bed. And maybe when I wake up, this will all just be a really bad dream. I didn't know whether to laugh, or scream, or both. But one thing was clear. There was no way I was letting Miss Kim become my stepmom. It was officially Operation Kick Miss Kim Out. So, when she cooked, I switched the salt with sugar. I was hoping Dad would see the kind of terrible cook she was, but...
You added sugar to the soup?
Sugar?
It's very avant-garde. I love it.
Dad proceeded to slurp from the bowl like he hadn't eaten for years. Soup sabotage was an epic fail. Next, I added dye to her shampoo. You think you're cool, Miss Kim? Let's make you Smurf level cool. And when she came out with a head wrap the next day, I thought I had finally gotten to her.
Honey, what's with the head wrap?
Blue's just my vibe now. Call me Aqua Kim. She proudly rocked the hair throughout the weekend because Dad said she looked stunning. My pranks were backfiring, only making him love her more. Time to re-strategize. If I could turn Daisy against her, Dad would have no choice but to end it. So I did something low-key evil. I took Daisy's favorite teddy bear and quietly tucked it into the donation box Miss Kim was packing. That way, when Daisy realized it was gone, I could put on my best concerned face and drop Daisy a little hint. Daisy was a wreck. And, okay, I felt a tiny bit bad. But hey, at least she was mad at Miss Kim. Small wins. Miss Kim took Mr. Snuggles away. He was defenseless. Miss Kim stood there, genuinely confused.
I swear, I never seen that bear in my life.
Liar! His footprints was all over your room. That's evidence. I was sure that Daisy would be on my side now. But the next day, Miss Kim brought back Mr. Snuggles and held a tea party for Daisy. Just like that, Daisy forgave her. The woman was invincible. But I swore that even if the whole world accepted her, I still wouldn't. Not ever. Then the craziest thing happened. One day, our school arranged for some outing at the beach. While everyone else had fun, my so-called friends had a not-so-brilliant idea. Let's swim here. Are you blind? It says no swimming here. Relax, it's just a sign. You chicken now or what? I'm not chicken. Then prove it, Queen of Cool. Before I could respond, Janelle suddenly stepped behind me with a giggle. Here, let me help you. She shoved me into the water. My whole body felt numb at the sudden impact, and all I could feel was panic. Janelle! Taylor! Are you nuts? Come on, mermaid, swim a little. I can't! The current! It's too strong! I was terrified. The water dragged me like I weighed nothing. Even Janelle and Taylor started freaking out. Kick your legs, come on! I tried to, but then... Ow! My leg! A searing pain shot through my leg. I couldn't move. I was sinking fast. Help! The last thing I remember was their screams, and them running away. And then a strong pair of arms wrapped around me. Andrea, stay with me! Everything was a blur. Light, sound, movement. Miss Kim's face suddenly came into view as my eyes began to droop. She looked almost surreal. She hoisted me onto her back and turned toward the surface, kicking hard through the pull of the water. But then I felt a sudden jolt, and just like that, everything went black. I blinked awake with the sting of an IV in my arm. Daisy was clutching my hand. Dad was pacing nearby, worrying. And across the room, Miss Kim sat on another bed, her leg bandaged and propped up, her eyes fixed on me.
You're awake! Thank God!
You scared me! I thought we were gonna have to bury you in the sand! Forever! What happened?
Miss Kim saved you. Dove in like a pro.
She even hurt her leg! I couldn't believe my ears. Miss Kim was really the one that dived in for me? But it was a restricted area. That could have been...
Dangerous. Yeah, I know. But when I saw you sinking, nothing else mattered. I just had to get to you. You didn't even hesitate, my love. But you! What were you thinking? Diving into that area like your brain's on vacation?
It wasn't me! My friends pushed me.
They what? And you're still calling them friends? You... That's enough, dear. The school is already handling them. Right now, she needs rest, not more stress.
Later that night, when it was just Miss Kim and me, I knew I had to say something. I took a deep breath and let the guilt spill. I'm sorry, Miss Kim. I've been awful. The pranks, the sabotage. I even hid my baby sister's favorite teddy and framed you. I know I shouldn't hang out with them, but I don't want to be alone at school.
Andrea, don't let anyone make you feel lucky just to be tolerated. You are smart. You are brave. All you need is the right people around you, and you'll eventually shine.
I wiped my eyes, then reached out and gently squeezed her hand. Thanks for saving my life, and welcome to the family. Janelle and Taylor got punished by the school, but they never apologized. So when I got back to school, I cut them off. And of course, they made sure to mock me every chance they got. Look who finally cut the cord. Do fake moms come with a remote control now? I bet she does extra homework for fun now. What a nerd. They hadn't changed. They were still loud, mean, and shallow. Looking back, I couldn't believe I once mistook that for friendship. Better a nerd than someone whose biggest achievement is ruling a lunch table. That comeback was exactly what they wanted. An excuse to throw a punch. They got right into my face, sneering. Someone's got guts now, huh? I've always hated you, little Miss Goody Two-Shoes. I could see their hands clench like they were ready to fight. But before they could do anything, a car pulled up, rolling down its window.
Is there a problem here?
I felt relieved to see Daisy and Miss Kim, a.k.a. my stepmom. Nothing serious, Mom. We were just saying our goodbyes.
Good, because I will deal with anyone who thinks bullying my daughter is a smart idea.
You better run! She once made a high school senior cry without yelling! The moment Daisy finished her sentence, they exchanged nervous glances before retreating. Whatever. We were leaving anyway. Next time, can we bring popcorn? That was awesome! I learned it's better to be alone than to keep bad friends just to feel accepted. Bad friends drag you down, and sometimes straight into danger. But real friendship, even when there are occasional misunderstandings, can be life-saving. For me, my true friends became my family, and I wouldn't trade them for anything.
Only 3 more steps to go. 3, 2, 1. Sophie! Oh man. Busted. Okay. So, it's because today at school, I persuaded a friend to test out my skateboard. But come on. How was I supposed to know she'd end up breaking her leg? Oops. I called your dad, and he's arranging your school transfer. What? Ugh! Is anyone else's mom way over the top like mine? My dad's away on business trips a lot, so the majority of the time it's just me and her. But we're basically chalk and cheese. Everything I do seems to annoy her. Skateboarding or partying, even breathing, I suppose. Geez, Doesn't she remember what being young was like? Or was she born this boring? Then whenever something happens, she always rings Dad and snitches on me. Ugh! Speak of the devil. Oh, hi, Dad.
Sophie, it's all sorted. You're transferring to Kings West High School next week.
But Dad, I don't want to move schools.
You brought it onto yourself, young lady. I have an old friend teaching there. I've told her to keep an eye on you. So, you better behave yourself.
Poof! He thought he could scare me? As if. I ain't afraid of some cranky teacher. So comes my first day at this place, and this teacher, friend of Dad's, Miss Janet Clark, wouldn't quit gawping at me, and she kept on calling on me to answer her stupid questions. No thanks. Ugh! I needed to liven this boring class up. So when the teacher briefly left the room, I immediately put Vaseline on the cap of her water bottle. It was so funny watching her failing to open it and ended up with a smudged hand. Then when she asked the class who was responsible, I grinned as I raised my hand. Another time, I put an air horn on her chair leg, so as soon as she sat down, there was an ear-splitting sound. It's as if she just farted.
Impressive. How do you think up such crazy pranks? You're even better than me.
Huh? I froze for a few seconds. Who was this handsome boy, and why hadn't I noticed him before? Turns out he's Dylan, and like me, he's prone to getting in trouble. We were talking to each other passionately when I felt a hand pat on my shoulder. It was Miss Clark. She led me into the corridor, and I expected her to shout at me, but surprisingly, she didn't get angry or anything. Instead, she asked if I was having a hard time. How odd. The next morning, I was about to enter the classroom when some popular girls stopped me. Who are you trying to impress? Better know your place, newbie.
She's just another plain Jane. What are you worried about, Rebecca? There's no way Dylan likes her.
Stay away from Dylan, else. Excuse me? This snooty girl just messed with the wrong person. And that's how we ended up pulling each other's hair until I managed to get a hold of her wrist and was about to give her a taste of my shoulder throw. Then Miss Clark intervened. The so-called Queen Bee quickly fled the scene. Then Miss Clark led me out to the schoolyard for a walk. She told me that this girl Rebecca was Dylan's ex-girlfriend. Oh, how pathetic. Our Becky has a crush on her ex. Then Miss Clark continued asking if I really felt okay, as she thought there must be some reason behind my rebellious behaviors. Just like that, my emotions got the better of me, and I blurted out how I hated moving schools, and the only good thing about this new place was Dylan. And could you believe it? She actually gave me some flirting tips to impress Dylan, and also told me to text her if I had any problems. Maybe I'd been wrong about Miss Clark. She was actually pretty cool, and I started talking to her pretty often. Then one day, I arrived home to see my bedroom door was ajar. I peeked inside and spotted Mom on my bed, iPad in hand, reading my diary on it. Mom, seriously, can you please give me some privacy?
Sophie, what's this about a downhill skating event? Do you want to die?
It's none of your business. Ugh, Mom was so controlling. She wouldn't let me wear the clothes I wanted or even fangirl over the idols I liked. Feeling so wronged, I called Miss Clark to let out this frustration. She was so understanding, saying how adults sometimes make mistakes too, and my mom was in the wrong this time. Then said I should sign up for the skating event, as I was young and therefore I should fight for my dreams. I wish Mom understood me like you do. You must be a wonderful mom. Your children are so lucky. She fell silent for a moment, then told me that as much as she wanted to be a mother, but she was divorced and had no kid. Adopt me then. I'd rather be your daughter than my mom's. Then she gently smiled at me. Thanks to Miss Clark, my stuffy home life felt a bit better. While at school, thanks to her matchmaking, Dylan and I were now a couple. Yay! Rebecca thus gave me dirty looks all the time in class. But tough luck, sweetie. And our 1-month anniversary finally arrived. Today, Dylan's taking me out for sushi. Yum! But I'd only had one bite when a familiar figure rushed over. My mom glared at Dylan, then dragged me home.
Don't you ever talk to that awful boy again. You hear me? That kind of troublemaker is nothing but a bad influence. Cut ties with him ASAP. This was insane. But thankfully, Dylan overlooked my mom's craziness, and we continued dating secretly. But then one morning, I texted and called Dylan a bunch of times, but there was no reply. Was something wrong? We just had the best date last night, but now, nothing. I rushed to school, searching for Dylan, worriedly asking everyone if they had heard anything from him, when Rebecca suddenly approached me.
Dylan could have died thanks to you. Seems like you and your crazy mom are cut from the same cloth.
Okay, so turns out that after Dylan dropped me off after our date, he ended up in an accident. Luckily, he wasn't hurt too bad, but he was convinced someone had tampered with his brakes while he made a quick stop at the 7-Eleven near my house. And, yep, that must have been my mom, since he also saw her leave the store. How could she do that? She's ruined my life! Dylan broke up with me right after that. No way was I staying anywhere near her, so I packed a bag and fled to the one place I felt safe. And here I am, at Miss Clark's house. Peace and quiet at last. Oh, what's this? She looked so pretty when she was young. I turned a few more pages, then... Huh? Why does this man resemble my dad? Then I saw a scribble. Janet, Bob, forever. Huh? It was my dad. So she wasn't just his old friend. She was his ex. A thought suddenly popped into my head. Could she be my real mom? Maybe Dad let me transfer to her school so we would be reunited. Oof, forgive me. I must have watched too many TV dramas. But honestly, how amazing would it be if she was my mom? My real mom was such a nightmare. I went to the kitchen to see Miss Clark preparing dinner and couldn't help but blurt out, "Mom?" She got extremely emotional, then pulled me in for a warm embrace and called me her daughter. Suddenly the phone rang. It was Dad. He told me to go home immediately or he'd stop my allowance. Miss Clark told me not to be worried and just go. But I had to show some attitude to let Mom know that I wouldn't back down easily. So from then on, as soon as I was home, I just went straight to my room without even looking at Mom. And also every time she said anything annoying, I kept replying with, "What's wrong with you? My teacher told me to do so. Stop overreacting." And you know what happened next? Yep, Mom called Dad. Again. I reported it to Miss Clark, as usual, and she told me that if I wanted Dad to stop listening to Mom, I had to tell him she was having an affair. What? Wasn't that too much? Did Miss Clark still have feelings for my dad? Was she only being nice to me so she could worm her way back into his life? After that, I didn't talk to her as much, and tried to avoid her at school, just to be safe. But then one day after lessons, I found her waiting by my locker looking all glum. She told me it was her birthday, but like every other time, she had no one to celebrate it with. If only you'd be by my side this year, my daughter. So I agreed to go for dinner with her, and then for convenience, I made reservations at Mom's restaurant. Maybe this wasn't such a bad idea. I mean, Miss Clark might be able to talk some sense into her, right? They could even actually get on. But as soon as Miss Clark walked in, Mom's face dropped. "Janet, what are you doing here? Our restaurant is fully booked. Please leave." The two argued back and forth for a while, and I couldn't stand it anymore. "Why are you so rude, Mom? She's my teacher." Mom then stormed off in a rage while Miss Clark and I just ignored her and carried on with our birthday plan. But as she was eating the baked lobster dish, she suddenly turned a funny color, then threw up. We took her to the emergency room, and the doctor said this was down to Ipecac, a vomit-inducing medicine. Who else is to blame? How could my mom be so cruel? "Sophie, I'm fine. I'm sure your mom meant no harm." Mom looked furious and rushed over to Miss Clark. I had to pull her back, and then I told her she didn't deserve to be my mom. She was speechless and burst into tears. But it was too late. I announced I would move out of the house and stay with Miss Clark instead. So I went home and packed straight away, then left. But Mom wouldn't quit following me that whole week. It's super annoying. So Miss Clark came up with a new idea. We should move somewhere where Mom wouldn't find us. Huh? Was it a bit too sudden? But this was the only way I could be rid of my freaky mom. So, we moved to a little house in the suburbs. Miss Clark took good care of me and completed all of my school transfer procedures. The first few days were so much fun. We had a really good time together. However, I started to notice odd little things, such as she fed me pizza every single day. Pizza and pizza only. She also insisted I wear these worn old clothes and called me Dumpling? What a weird nickname. At first I just wondered why she did that, but then it started to bug me, so I asked her to stop. To my surprise, she started crying. Looks like I was stuck with this awful nickname. Things at home seemed off, and the new school was just as terrible. From the very first day, I again became the target of the mean girls. But one day, as they tried to stop me passing them, one of their faces suddenly turned pale. Huh? Isn't that Alice's gross old shirt? Alice who? You know, Alice. The Dumpling. She wore the exact same shirt with the word smart printed on it. I remember this vividly as I used to laugh at how brazen of that stupid girl for wearing a shirt saying smart. My God, even the trace of my cigarette butt on its flap? It's still there? But she's dead. Then they all looked at each other in fear and ran away. Huh? Chills ran down my spine. I didn't know who this Alice was, and I didn't want to. The only thing I knew was I needed to get out of this place immediately. So I rushed home to pack my things before Miss Clark got back from work, but it was too late. Dumpling? Where are you going? You have to stay with Mommy. Then she quickly locked the door, dragged me inside, and started acting like a psychopath. Eat up, my dumpling. Why are you so sad? It's seafood pizza, your favorite. I'm sorry I didn't let you eat it before, but now you can have it all you want. I'll buy this for you every day. Panicked, I didn't know how to hold out against this insane woman when someone kicked in the door. It was Dylan, followed by my parents. Sophie, here you are, our baby. Oh, thank good God. I pushed Janet away and ran straight to them. But how did they find me? I decided to look into the case of my broken brake again, as a few days after the accident, I came back to that 7-Eleven, and a cashier asked me if my mum came home safely the other day, as she saw a woman claiming to be my mum struggling by my motorcycle, saying there's some problem with it. That sounded way too fishy, so I asked to check the store's CCTV footage. And the culprit was not your mum as we all thought, but her. Huh? Why? She helped matchmake us. Why would she want to harm you? I don't know. Maybe she wants everyone to misunderstand and blame your mother. Luckily, our phones have still been sharing locations ever since we were dating, so I found you in time. Many thanks to you, Dylan. My father angrily looked at Miss Clark. Janet, things between us ended decades ago. Please get a hold of yourself. Poof, how ridiculous. Who do you think you are to assume this is about you? Dumpling is mine. She's my daughter, and she's staying with me. She broke down crying, and then admitted it all, from damaging Dylan's motorbike to putting Eminic medicine in her own food to fool people. I've tried everything. I can't believe it. How could a gentle person like her do such things? After the truth was revealed, everything gradually got back on track. I went back home, but still, my mind constantly wandering back to her and why she did it. Until one day, I came home from school and was surprised to see that woman sitting on the couch in our living room having a coffee with Mom. To be honest, I was a bit frightened at the sight of her, but she didn't look as unstable as before. It turned out that she'd just returned from a psychotherapy unit. She'd been suffering from her mental health since Alice, her daughter, passed away. Alice, aka Dumpling, was a stubborn teenager, just like me, and due to the strictness of her mum, she once left home in a temper and never came back, as she got in a terrible car accident that night. So, as soon as Miss Clark saw me, She subconsciously wanted to turn me into her daughter to fix her past mistakes. Sophie, I'm truly sorry.
I'd just climbed back into the room when suddenly I heard a voice. Jasmine, how come you're only getting home now? I turned around to find Emma standing there. That's my business. Don't come home late like this again, okay? You'll be grounded if your dad finds out. I shrugged and closed my door without saying anything. Yep, that's Emma, my stepmom. She doesn't actually care, she just pretends to. If it wasn't for her telling my dad to forbid me from singing, then I wouldn't have to sneak out to go practice like this. Different day, same story. Yet again, I've had to lie about going to my singing practice. Honestly, I can't wait to be an adult so I can do whatever I want. Dad, I'm going over to Mix to study, I said as I headed for the door. Suddenly, Emma pulled me back and handed me a bottle. Huh? Licorice tea? Drink this after practicing. It helps keep your voice clear. Then she winked at me. Huh? So she knew I'd lied about where I was going, yet still she'd helped me? Maybe, just maybe, I've been misunderstanding her this whole time? Later that night, Emma suggested we should go for a picnic on the weekend, and for once, I excitedly agreed. But when the weekend rolled around, there was this hectic snowstorm. Emma kept looking out at the snow with disappointment written across her face. That's when the idea hit me. How about we have an indoor picnic? Yes, that's right. That's a great idea. And so we set up the tent right in our living room, and we were having the best time when suddenly the doorbell rang. I got up to answer it, and standing there covered in snow was a woman. She suddenly ran at me and said, "Oh my gosh, Jasmine, you've grown up so fast. I've missed you so much." Before I could understand what was going on, Dad shouted, "Megan, I can't believe you have the nerve to show up here like this. I know you won't accept my apology, but you don't understand. I had to see her. I've missed her every single day." Oh my God. So, that woman was my mother? I couldn't hold back my tears and ran straight over to hug her. I swear I'd been waiting for this moment for years. Mom gently stroked my hair and then turned to my dad. "Can I stay here for a while? Just to make it up to my beloved daughter after such a long time being apart, Elvis?" "Are you joking? Get out of my house!" "Dad, please let her stay. Please." But no matter how much I begged, Dad wouldn't give in. And so I turned to Emma for help. "Elvis, just let her stay here. If Jasmine wants to be with her mom this badly, we should let them have some time together. Come on, darling." I looked at Emma with so much appreciation, then turned those puppy eyes towards my dad, and eventually he reluctantly nodded his head. "Yay!" I shouted and led Mom to my room. From that day onwards, I spent most of my free time with her. We went to the movies together, shopping together, and honestly, it was the happiest I'd ever felt. One day, I was listening and humming along to my music when Mom came in. "Wow, so you also love singing?" It must be genetic. Back then, if I hadn't been so passionately obsessed with music, which drove your dad crazy, I might never have left you like that. Now I regret it so much, Jasmine. I put my arms around her and softly said, "After all these years, I still think about that lullaby. Can you sing it to me?" "Which one?" "I sang you many lullabies back then. It's Don't Know Why by Nora Jones." "Oh, right. That one." Then she started singing. I swear to God, her voice was like an angel. But strangely, it didn't give me any of the feelings I had as a kid. Was it because I have grown up? While I was absorbed in my thoughts, I suddenly saw Emma's shadow at my doorway. But when she met my eyes, she hurried down the stairs. Huh? Why was Emma crying? I was so confused. "She must be jealous of our relationship," Mom said. Yeah, probably, since she'd been married to my dad for 3 years, but we'd never been close. That evening, when I went to the kitchen with Mom to set the table, she suddenly shouted, "Oh my gosh! Why did Emma make chicken parmigiana? Doesn't she know that your dad hates this?" Then she took the plate and threw it in the trash, saying she would order takeaway instead. Huh? Dad hates this? He always complimented Emma on her signature dish. Before I could react, Emma entered the room. As soon as she saw her chicken in the trash, she glared at Mom. Things then got so awkward. Emma had skipped dinner. Mom also tried to start a conversation with Dad a few times, but he ignored her. I felt so bad for Mom. In my dad's eyes, there was only Emma now. But my mother had done nothing wrong. She just wanted to pursue her passion. Later that night, I was heading to the pantry to get some snacks when I heard Emma yelling at Mom. Megan, for old time's sake, I didn't bring up anything from the past, but you can't just do whatever you want. How dare Emma yell at my mom like that? As soon as Emma left, I ran over to my mom asking her what had happened. She hesitated for a while, then told me the whole story. It turned out Mom and Emma used to be in the same band when they were young. And since Mom was always the lead singer, Emma had begrudged her ever since. Perhaps she has never gotten over it. I didn't expect Emma to be so mean. So from that day on, I began to show my attitude towards Emma. I didn't let her go to the parent-teacher conference like I had promised before, and I even forbade Mick, my best friend, from talking to her every time he came over. Mom, how did you and Dad meet back in the day? Well, back then, your dad was a waiter at the lounge I used to sing at every weekend. We quickly fell in love and started leaving love letters for each other at our secret spot. Ew, how cheesy. It's called romantic, you silly. At that time, we put our initials at the end of every letter. Suddenly, there was some noise at the door, and I turned to see Dad standing right behind us. What do you mean, our initials? It represented our two favorite characters' names from that movie. Yes, it was the initials of Monica and Quincy in the movie Love and Basketball. Dad gaped at Emma in surprise as she continued. I was the one writing letters to you that year. But when I got to the meeting spot, I saw you and Megan together, so I left. Dad and Emma looked at each other, then turned to stare at Mom. Actually, back then I liked you so much that I pretended to be Emma, but it's not that important. In the end, you were still into me and we got along really well, right? I can't believe you lied to me like this for all these years! Then Dad angrily left the room, followed by Emma. As for Mom, she was sitting there, tears pouring from her eyes. Okay, so Mom was definitely in the wrong, but did Dad need to treat her like that? Who doesn't make mistakes from time to time? And anyway, it's because of my mom's mistake that I'm even here, right? From that day onwards, the atmosphere in the house was so intense. Dad ignored Mom, and Emma always gave Mom hateful looks. Until one day, I'd just gotten home from school when I saw my dad excitedly running towards me saying, Emma is pregnant. You're going to have a little brother or sister. Wow. I'd always wanted to have a sibling. I couldn't believe it. So that night, my family threw a party to celebrate, and Mom also congratulated Dad and Emma. And thanks to that, the tension between the three of them started to ease. Phew. But a few days later, for some reason, Dad found out that I'd lied about going studying with Mick. He was furious and grounded me for a week. I was sullenly playing on my iPad when Mom entered the room. Emma must be the snitch. Now that she's pregnant, she wants Dad to be angry with you, so he'll give all his love to her and the baby. Well, that just made sense. The other day, I'd even seen Emma whispering something to Dad, and as soon as he heard it, he got mad. Ugh, such a two-faced woman. I had to sort this out, and so I set up a fun plan for my stepmom. One time, I made her orange juice using powdered cheese, and she ended up spitting it out all over Dad. Then I unscrewed the shower head to add blue food coloring, and that's how I gave her a Smurf makeover. It was hilarious hearing her horrid scream from the bathroom. Another time, I snuck into Emma's room, trying to put flour in her hairdryer. I was rummaging through the bedside table looking for her hairdryer when suddenly I saw a DVD labeled Jasmine 0311. Huh? What's this? Why was my name on it? Curious, I went back to my room to play it, and then I couldn't believe my eyes. On the screen, Emma was carrying a baby and singing a lullaby to her. This melody. Wasn't it the song Don't Know Why? So that baby was me? But Emma couldn't sing, could she? Her voice was weak and sounded hoarse. What did this mean? I rushed to show my dad the DVD. Emma told me not to talk about this, but since you already know, I won't hide it anymore. Then he told me everything. Turns out my mom left for a rich man when I was only 2 years old, and it was Emma who came and helped my dad take care of me during my younger years. Oh my gosh. What? So, all those memories of my mom's warm hugs and lullabies were all actually of Emma? A feeling of guilt welled up in my heart. I had to do something to apologize to Emma, so the next day, I asked Mick to go to the mall to help me buy her a gift. As I was passing a coffee shop, I suddenly saw my mom sitting with some guy. Without thinking much, I quickly pulled Mick to a nearby table and eavesdropped on them. Honey, how's the money? You know how pushy the creditors are, and they're getting kinda aggressive. Don't worry, it won't be long now. My daughter's on my side. She'll help me kick her stupid stepmom out. Then my ex-husband will soon follow her wish and volunteer to give me money. What? What was going on? Had Mom come back just for Dad's money? I was about to go confront her when my phone rang. It was Dad. Jasmine, go to the hospital right away. Emma is in the emergency room. By the time I got there, I saw my dad sitting outside the ER with his head in his hands. After a while, the doctor came out and said, "Both mother and baby are okay. Next time, please pay more attention to the patient's food allergy." How could you eat stuff you're allergic to? You must be more careful, okay? Yeah, Emma always took good care. It didn't make sense. Unless my mom... I was about to tell Dad about what I'd seen at the mall when Mom suddenly appeared, eagerly asking about Emma's situation. Unable to stand her pretense any longer, I shouted, "Mom, drop the act. It was you who did all of this, wasn't it?" Jasmine, what nonsense are you uttering? Furious, I immediately told them the whole story I've heard. Megan, I could forgive you for the old letter story and for trying to sabotage my voice, but the fact that you wanted to harm my baby is unforgivable. It turns out the stuff from the past that she mentioned before was that my mom harmed her to destroy her voice. So that's why Dad didn't let me sing, for fear that it would cause Emma pain. Suddenly Mom burst out laughing. I don't need your pity. You were so lucky to have such a beautiful voice and a wonderful man by your side. And even now, you're still trying to take the life that should have been mine. Megan, give it up already. You need to stop this. Mom was about to say something, but I interrupted her. Mom, please just go. I'm so ashamed to have a mother like you. Then I burst into tears. She got up and left, without even so much as a glance back at us. Emma took me into her arms. I was afraid that you would be disappointed. That's why I hid everything from you. I'm sorry for treating you so badly. She gently patted my head, and I felt like I was back in my childhood, where she'd held me and sang lullabies. It was so comforting. Finally, peace has returned to my family. I'm so fortunate to have Emma as a stepmom, and pretty soon, my little bro or sis will be here, and I can't wait.